So, welcome back, everybody. I think just so powerful. So powerful. I think some of us here have tears in our eyes. Thank you for your wonderful comments. Some of you brought up, Karen Treisman, powerful metaphor of shark-infested waters. So realistic. So I think the stories have resonated with many of you. I love that comment. So thank you. Listening with the ear of your heart. It's just a beautiful comment to make. I have a lump in my throat after that. It's absolutely amazing stuff, and huge thanks to Peter Hussey, the director of Crooked House Youth Theatre, his cast and crew for creating that unique film for us, especially for today. It will be available, as Ali has said, on YouTube, and you'll be able to access it there. So we will make all of those links available to you. So thank you so much again to Peter Hussey and his amazing team. So at this point, on an online event like this, some technical difficulties are to be expected. So Professor Eeva Leinonen, President of Maynooth University, was unable to access the webinar initially, but I believe we have her now. And I am so delighted, and it's a huge pleasure, hello Eeva, to welcome Professor Eeva Leinonen to formally open this event for us. So just by way of introduction, Professor Leinonen joined Maynooth University as president just earlier this month, and after 5 years as Vice Chancellor and President of Murdoch University in the slightly warmer climes of Perth, Australia. Her academic research focuses on pragmatic language processing in children and young adults with autistic spectrum disorders. Professor Leinonen was born and raised in Finland, where she completed her schooling. She and her two brothers were the first in her family to attend university, and her own experience has cemented her belief in the role of education as a social equalizer with the power to transform people's lives, and as well as families and whole communities. And to that, we couldn't agree more. So thank you so much for being here, Professor Leinonen. I'll hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Katrina. And I do apologize that I couldn't get online earlier, but I tried 3 different computers, and then the magic button was found and I got on. So many apologies, but actually I'm quite pleased that I was delayed, because I probably wouldn't have watched that video otherwise, because I might have just said some opening remarks and then gone, as one usually does. So there was a purpose for me being late. So that was a very powerful video, and I'm not sure what to say after it, to be honest, because in some ways it said everything. So maybe it's just I just say welcome to Maynooth University, welcome to this really important and timely event about trauma-informed education. And thank you, Katrina, for inviting me, but also thank you, Alcohol Action Ireland, and also Research Council New Foundation Scheme for being part of this partnership. I'm a psychologist and a linguist, and as Katrina just said, I work on language processing deficits in children and young adults on the autistic continuum. So I don't know so much about adverse childhood experiences and trauma, but I understand that they are very pervasive, and I intuitively know, and I think we all know in society, that they have a very powerful and wide-ranging effect on people's subsequent health and well-being, and really impact a lifespan. Mental health, educational outcomes, addiction, self-harm. I mean, you know all about these matters, physical ill health. So it's a really important part of society and educational experience to focus on. I understand that there is quite considerable interest now on trauma-informed practice across lots of different human services sectors. But I just wanted to say something about schools. and particularly having just seen that video. And they are in a very unique position, aren't they, schools, because they do reach large numbers. Most children go to school, if not all, at least in these developing countries. So let's be clear, we're talking about developing countries here. And I was just thinking about the video, and one of the young people said something along the lines that normal families don't exist. And many of us have struggled because of family circumstances, or been witness struggle of family circumstances. But I think one of the things that stops maybe young people coming forward is because you think you're different, because my family is different from other families, or there is some idealized family, and I cannot possibly mark myself and my family as being different by going forwards. And that just triggered a thought like that. Also, one of the people on the video, young people on the video, said something along the lines of, listen to me, don't give me pamphlets. And then that particular theme, of course, was very well illustrated by several of the young people. And there was a theme about one person, that it only takes one person to make a difference. And one of them says, first time someone gave me a choice. And you know what gets us also stuck in life? When we absolutely believe we have no choice, or there is not a one person who I can reach out to, or who will reach out to me. So that's a really powerful message for us, all of us in society and communities, is to be mindful about the fact that we could sometimes be the one person that actually reaches out to someone. One of the things that I have also noticed, particularly in the COVID context, is that, particularly when the lockdown, first of all, I was in Australia at the time, by the way, so I didn't have a lot of lockdown experience. I had some in England, and I know you have had a great many months of lockdown. But when one went for a walk, I sort of made a point of saying hello to people, and particularly older people. And if you say hello, they say hello back, and sometimes actually start to have a conversation. I sometimes wondered whether I was the only person that person had spoken to that day. So I just want us all to sort of think about our responsibility, but also what difference we can make to people's lives by being that one person that reaches out, not just to people struggling, but also more broadly in society. As I understand it, trauma-informed practice is a very, I think, Katrina, you already said it, a strength-based approach. And when I reflect on strength-based approaches, they're very different frameworks, there's different frameworks and strategies, but they all have something in common. And that is the principles and values that they're based on. And those of safety, trustworthiness, peer support, collaboration, empowerment, cultural humility, respect for diversity. And these are really important principles of being a human being. I was also I mentioned COVID-19, and as I understand it, it has created even more impetus for trauma-informed approaches in schools and society. And the pandemic has clearly emphasized sort of pre-existing inequalities, and particularly there's increased economic, social, and psychological pressure, but there's also increased violence in homes, alcohol consumption, and also closure of schools. And that is being very, for some young people, the school is the place where you can go to and feel for a moment safe. So I think those are the kind of additional pressures we have at the moment in society because of COVID-19. And that is, I think, when we have even more need for trauma-informed approaches in schools and evidence-based practice and policy. I was just looking at the program, and such a stellar lineup of internationally renowned experts speaking at this conference. Thank you for being here. But I also noticed that there is, I think there's a drama from, it's a Crooked House Youth Theatre. Yes, there's also contributions from students and teachers and advocates and experts by experience. So this really does provide you all, and I'm sorry I can't be part of it, a great opportunity to learn and reflect together from different perspectives and different backgrounds. And I think this is the time to really put a lens on this kind of work, and this kind of work that can be done from all these different perspectives, and also work that can be done in partnership. And I want yet again to thank Alcohol Action Ireland and also the Irish Research Council New Foundation Programme for being part of this partnership. So that's my opening remarks. Have an absolutely wonderful event, and it's a great learning experience and coming together. And you know, it's been a pleasure and a privilege to have this small moment. And I am actually so pleased that I was late and I was able to see that film, because it resonated a great deal, and I can see how moved all of us were, because there were a lot of really powerful but also real examples of life. And many of those examples in this, I have been in higher education and worked with students for about 30 years. And I can tell you that in more than one occasion, when I've had someone from maybe a less privileged background to come to university, they have said, I am here because one teacher believed in me. So there is that connection of believing in young people and enabling and inspiring them to do things that they can do, but they never thought they could without that one person. So thank you very much indeed. Have a fantastic event, and thank you, Katrina, for doing this for Maynooth University and this group.
Thank you so much, Professor Leinonen. It was lovely to get your reflections. It's so great that you could be here, first of all, but real-time reflections on the video piece, on the film. It was just wonderful also to hear. Thank you very much for your support for this work. We're delighted that you could make it today and share your observations, and just to welcome everybody. So delighted that you could be here with us. Thank you very much
indeed, and enjoy the conference. And I look forward to Katrina catching up with you for coffee on campus. And I like to hear more about this work. Thank you.